Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviram Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right. I think we did up to 28, so we'll start with 29. But I'll recap a little bit. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Ata Chaturtho Adhyayah. श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत् मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानव श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः ये त्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तः नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढास्तान् विद्धि नाष्टान् चेतसः. All right. So, just to recap, the fourth chapter is about karma sannyas. So, means how you move from karma to akarma. That's the journey that we are undertaking. In this last few verses, Bhagwan started a concept called yajna. We did that a little bit in the third chapter also, but here Bhagwan gives variety of yajnas. You choose any. And basically, what Bhagwan is saying is we move in this world with a yajna spirit. What is the yajna spirit? Where you are putting an effort towards something of higher cause rather than for yourself. And now let's just recap a little bit. So in 20, we started with the Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi, which is the Brahma Drishti. That means everything that we experience in this world is nothing but Brahman. The one who is experiencing is also Brahman. So it's not like we are differentiating between experiencer and the experienced. So whatever we are experience is, so जिसको कहते हैं ना सब में हरि है, or everything is Ram only. Like Tulsidas ji says, what is it? सिया राम मैं सब जग जानी करो करो pranam जोर जुग बानी. So same way here, that was the Brahma Drishti. Then Bhagavan talks about how you have to, because yajna is also sacrifice, right? कि उसमें आहुति दी जाती है. What do you do? What is the ahuti you give? So he says, then offer your ahankar into the fire of knowledge. That's another one where ahankar has to be sacrificed. So anytime the ahankar comes up, in form of anger, in form of jealousy, in form of pride, whatever it is, you say, okay, you know what, let this ahankar be, is there because of Bhagwan only. So through knowledge I am going to get rid of ahankar, because right now we identified with ahankar, that I am the ahankar. That is what needs to be removed. Even in the modern psychology, we don't go to that stage. We go to the stage ki how to control your anger, how to control your but they don't say sacrifice your ahankar, because ahankar is still the identity that we live with. So, anyways, then Bhagavan says, okay, one step, one notch down. He says, then you control your sense organs, and which is in action, behavior, everything. When we talk about sense organs, means the equipment that we have to perceive the world. How we perceive things is something we have um, to do as a yajna, which is, and then it says, एक तो sense हो गया, एक होता है sense objects. So for hearing, the sense object is sound. So control sound means what you intake. That means फिल्टर लगाना है कि किस बात को कितना सुनना है, कितना देखना है, कितना टेस्ट करना है. एवरीथिंग इज इन ए मेजर्ड क्वांटिटी, एंड understand that to be as part of yajna. Bhagavan is, this is all about yajna. Like controlling of urges, कि उठे और चलो पेंट्री में देखा कुछ खाने का है, या फ्रिज खोल के देख रहे हैं. कई लोग होते हैं फ्रिज खोल के खड़े रहते हैं सामने कि व्हाट टू ईट नेक्स्ट. So these are our urges. So that has, all Bhagavan is saying is it has to be controlled. So um, even including TV and other things. So that is the sense organ. Then the other is Atma Sanyam Agni. Atma Sanyam means, where do you sacrifice these? In the Atma Sanyam. Sanyam means control. That means self-control. Increase your self-control, making your, the other one, that the last one that we did was about, Bhagavan talked about 5 different yajnas here, or 5 different ahutis we have to give in this yajna. And this has to be in the 28th verse, Dravya Yajna. Dravya Yajna is material. How do we, which means when you give something, that means you are actually loosening the attachments for those things. Right now, our attachment for material things is high. So when you start to give up things, then your attachment to those things also go away. That is the um, the purpose of yajna is not Bhagwan ki prapti. The purpose of yajna is mana shuddhi. That means the purer mind means it has developed vairagya, it has developed viveka. All these things have to be developed. All the what do we call it? Like Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, all these values that we have to increase. And that is what Chitta Shuddhi is. Chitta Shuddhi is not, कि अच्छे अच्छे ख्याल आ रहे हैं. अच्छे अच्छे ख्याल is not Chitta Shuddhi. ख्याल, the Chitta Shuddhi is where your mind is not attached to things, whether it is material, whether it is people, whether it anything, So then he talks about yoga, tapa, swadhyaya. We did discuss that. So let's start with the next one. Now he talks about prana. This is a, so we talked about the senses, we talked about mind, we talked about intellect in a way, with the ahankar. Now he says apane jufyati prana. That means you sacrifice your apana into prana. Let's just first go through this. Prane apana tatha pare. And the reverse. That means sacrifice the apana into prana. Pranapan gati rudva pranayam parayana. So the goal is through pranayam you get use this pranayam as yajna. We say pranayam kahan se aaya. Pranayam is coming from yoga, and all this is Bhagavan has integrated the Vedanta and yoga into one. That's what Gita is. That's why every chapter has a name that ends with a yoga. So last one we did was Karma Yoga. Before that we did Sankhya Yoga. Before that we did what was the first chapter, the
Vishad,
Arjun
Vishad.
Vishad Yoga. Yeah, Vishad Yoga. So this is how everything is yoga only. Yoga means the integration. Hindi में भी, up to eighth we did everything in Hindi, in the math, science, everything. So I'm very familiar with all the Hindi words. Yoga means addition. In Hindi, in math, in the Hindi math, the yoga means addition. So when you are adding you are developing oneness with the universe. You are developing oneness with the Paramatma or Bhagwan or Brahman or whatever we want to call it. Because by naming it, we are limiting it. So I use all the names so that we don't get attached to one name. So Apan Vayu is the one that is actually going downwards. So when we are breathing in, it is apan. Normally we say it is prana, but it is the other way around. Apan is when it goes in. Anything that we ingest is apana. Anything we exhale is prana. So कहते भी है ना प्राण निकल गए. So he breathes his last, so pran chale gaye. But that is how we have to understand. So apana vayu is downward, and which is filling your lungs, which actually activates a lot of things in us. Prana is not breathing. Prana is physiological system. Breathing is swas. See, it is not swasayam, it is pranayam. So prana is lot more than just breathing. Breathing is part of it also. It's not like breathing is outside of it, but it is not limited to breathing. That's what I want to mention here. So apan vayu is downward. So you inhale and then you exhale. Exhale is called rechak. So you have you first inhale apan vayu and then you exhale and then you hold. That means it is called kumbhak. That means you hold that breath. This is a people who have done pranayam know about it, but Bhagwan is trying to say, but use this as yagya, not just to better your BP or sugar or those things. That is also going to serve that purpose. But here Bhagwan is saying, do this with yajna spirit. See, all that thing we are, doing it in today's life also. This pranayam is very common for um, fixing a lot of physiological problems, right? Jyoti is a doctor, so she can probably vouch for it. And so people do that, and it has actually cured a lot of diseases, including BP and other things, because normally the body is capable of repairing itself, but we don't let it. We don't give it time enough. We don't do it the way it is supposed to do. So breathing is like a meditation. You watch your breath. You watch your in. Going in, coming out. All that is a form of meditation. Bhagwan is using the word yajna here. So he says, use this as a yajna, your own breathing as a yajna, that I am offering this air to my system, and let this air be out. So all my negativities flow out through me. So if we practice that way, then it becomes yajna. So this pranayam will fix your health no matter whether you want to consider it yajna or not. So it's like, you have headache, you take Tylenol. That it is not like you are, the ingredients of Tylenol. Tylenol is going to do its job. So pranayam is going to do its job. But here Bhagwan is saying, when you are alert about it, when you are, conscious about what you are doing, then it becomes like a yajna spirit. See, yajna is where you are involved in it. Basically, you means that jiva as ahankar is involved in it, and you are offering it as इसमें ना तो कोई मटेरियल है ना, you are not doing anything. It is just air is free, so you take air and you give it out. So it is just that Bhagwan is saying, use this as a yajna. So it's pretty straightforward. What to learn from this experience? That now Bhagwan is trying to wrap this yajna portion of this chapter, and he says, everything can be yajna. Every hardship that we experience in life can be yajna when you are aware of it. You don't get attached to it. क्योंकि यज्ञ में क्या होता है, there are so many things involved in yajna. You are not alone. There are so many people also involved in it. जैसे हवन करते हैं, then so many people are involved. Everybody is contributing to it. And what happens at the end of it? You take whatever is left after that as prasad. So here now Bhagwan says, okay, now let's go to the next one. Apare niyataharaha. Ahar. Ahar means food. Ahar also means anything that we take in, you know. So apare. Understand, apare means in you. Apare, pare means far. Apare is near, Niyata ahara. Niyata means controlled. So control your intake of food. Let's start with that. When we say food, that means not just control of food, but whatever we take in through any sense organs. So apare niyataharaha pranan praneshu juvyati. That means if you are taking food, then say, I am offering it to my pranas. They are going to help, provide nutrition to my body. But that should be the only purpose. लेकिन हम लोग खाते हैं for a different reason. Apare niyatahara pranan pranesh juvyati. That means you are offering it to the pranas. Into prana. The pranas are offered into prana. And now Shankar means Adi Shankara says that understand this to be mastery over prana. Because what you intake actually becomes, what do you say? It actually rejuvenates your pranas. But it has to be very controlled. That's the niyata. Niyata means in a controlled way. We are not just talking about food here. We are talking about any intake, So food is one. So food is offered to pranas. Pranas then in this particular one, this is Shankara's commentary. I am putting it in simple words. He says it has to be for quantity, for quality, both. So when you eat something in quantity, the formula should be only fill up to half. If you want to eat 2 chapatis, eat one. If you want to eat 4 chapatis, eat two. Leave half empty. Fill 1/4 with water and 1/4 with space. So that is the formula given by Shankaracharya, Adi Shankara. And quality means start to move from more tamasic to sattvic. So tamasic to rajasic, rajasic to sattvic. That's the journey we have to take. So it is not just the quantity, we have to also control the quality. So that is uh, the first part of it. Then sarve pete yajna vidaha yajna kshapita kalmashaha. Now, sometimes I see that in cars, they will have, I ate the colonial kitchen. I don't know if you guys have seen in Chicago, Colonial is a big, what do you call it? A restaurant chain, and they sell ice creams. So they have big tubs. So if you are able to finish a tub, that is called a colonial sink. So, so people go there to eat that whole thing. And if you eat it for free, you get a sticker that, okay, I ate colonial sink. So, and then you have these, stupid competitions where you have to eat 100 hot dogs. There's a competition. People are competing with each other. It looks so gross, but people are there to compete with each other. कि कौन कितना खा सकता है. So apare niyatahara. Then through that, if we control the intake, we are actually going to improve the pranas also, because pranas get impacted with what we eat and how much we eat, what quality of food and the quantity of food. The pranas totally are controlled by that. If suppose we eat too much, what will happen? Indigestion. We'll also create more problem for our what is called as jaఠragni, the one which is going to take the food, break it into nutrition to send it to different part of the body. So that is going to cause problem. So we start with controlling of the intake, so that the pranas, because the ahuti of this is to the pranas. Is it all making sense? This is very simple actually. Bhagavan is making it very simple for Arjuna to understand yajna as a day-to-day chore. He's not saying that you have to, invite 11 brahmanas and create this yogagni and then bring these material. He says everything that we have, that we do in this, our daily action is yajna also. Just controlling our food is a yajna. So then it says, Ete sarve yajna vidaha. The one who understand, vidaha means knowing, with that once sarve pete yajna vidaha, that one who has understood these as yajna, means everything that we have covered so far. It is not for this verse only. Bhagwan is now concluding this particular topic. So Bhagwan is saying that this is not just for the food I am talking everything that we have talked about in this yajna. Because in this yajnas, all the yajnas that we talked about is our daily experience. Everything we go through that. All we are going to do now is understand that to be a yajna. That's all. So ete sarve yajna vidaha, that one who understand this yajna, that I am doing this as yajna, then what happens to that person? Um, then he is able to, uh, what do you call it? He sees clarity in his thoughts. Once everything that we are doing on a daily basis, it's not, ek din ritual ho gaya. This is breathing, is every second we are doing it. So breathing, eating, everything is yajna. Knower of this yajna is the actual spiritual aspirant. Bhagwan is now defining that as yajna kshapita kalmashaha. That means they become purified. So the whole process of this is purification, right? Once you go through, kshapita means cleansed, and kalmashaha means sins. That means all his sins are cleansed. That means all his negativities are gone. Sins is not something that you will be punished for. Sins is the punishment that we are receiving now. So it is not a future tense, it is a present tense. The pain that we are experiencing mentally, physically is called kalmashaha, you know. So kshapita kalmashaha means, that means those are removed. For who? The one who understand these yogas, the yajnas, not yogas. This yajnas, one who understand his the sins are cleansed. So so slowly, if we start with one, take any, even prana in the breathing itself, we consider it as yajna, or food or whatever. Take one, and then slowly everything will become as yajna only. You start with one, Now, as conclusion, or as a for Arjuna, Bhagwan is saying, Yajna Shishta Mrata Bhujaha. Yajna Shishta is the remains of the yajna. Yajna Shishta Mrata Bhujaha Yanti Brahma Sanatanam Nayam Lokostya Yajnasya Kutoyam Kuru Sattama. Kuru Sattama is for Arjuna. Oh Arjuna, now understand, great among Kurus, he is now reminding Arjuna, what is good for you? See, he had asked him this question in the second chapter. Tell me what is good for me. That was his question. What is Shreyas for me? So Bhagwan is now telling him, this is Yajna Shishta Amrita Bhujaha. That means the enjoyer. Bhuja means enjoyer. Understand that those who are enjoyers of the remains of the yajna. That means, so it is not something that we have to think as a painful exercise. It is actually very enjoyable exercise. The Bhagavan is actually saying, the one who is enjoyer of this yajna shishta, that means remains of this yajna, um, they are actually receiving the amrit. So this is, understand this yajna as a manthan, amrit manthan, जैसे था ना, इस मंथन का जो रिमेन्स है, that amrit is what you will receive. Who is going to receive? The one who understand this yajna vidahu, So earlier, yajna shishta has also come in third chapter. That means that we understand everything that we receive, we have to first offer it to Bhagwan, as a yajna. We do that, right? भगवान को हम भोग लगाते हैं. So same thing, we have to understand everything is, whatever I have today is actually given to me by Bhagwan, or given to me by totality. If we don't want to use the word Bhagwan, because that gets confusing. Everything that we have today, whether it is this body, the pranas, the material wealth we have, everything is coming from somewhere outside. So all we have to do is have this understanding, that clarity. So if we are going to enjoy, then you have to share it back with where you got it from. So share it back, but whatever remains, enjoy that. So yajna shishta, when you are sharing it with others, whatever remains, that karma, or the karma done with that yajna spirit, is amrit. That is what Bhagwan is saying here. That understand, uh, the when you do things, karma with the yajna spirit, and the remains of that yajna, that means you are putting an effort to share, whether it is your skill, whether it is your material, whether it is just a kind word to others, whatever it is that you are sharing, and whatever remains with you is amrit. So when we prepare food, the goal is that everybody should enjoy that food. that I am preparing. If that is our spirit, that we are preparing it for totality, for Bhagwan. Totality is nothing but Bhagwan manifesting in a physical form. Everybody, everything is that only. So when we prepare our food with that spirit and we share it with others and people enjoy it, then whatever remains we eat will become Amrit. That's the gist of this verses. So this Amrit, the eater of that Amrit is the one who understands this yoga, this yajna. Yanti Brahma Sanatana, the realized Brahman in their eventually. That means they will. That means their mind gets purified through this process, and this will take them to their real identity, which is Brahman. That's the goal. That's what we have to understand, because the goal is mukti, free from everything. That you have to experience that total freedom. And that comes in two forms. One is in the living form, as I am today, which is called the uh, let me explain it. So there are two forms of muktis. One is called Sadaya Mukti and one is called the Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti is a process that, okay, through this, you do, yagya spirit, then you get, um, you know, clarity of thinking, then you get purity of mind, then you get jnana, then you get mukti. That is Krama Mukti. Or Sadhya Mukti is when you suddenly feel that freedom, So suddenly feel means that once you have this yajna spirit in everything that we do, you have that कि सब संसार का है, मैं भी संसार का हूं, so I have to share this with the samsar. With that spirit, it says that is the one who is going to yanti Brahma Sanatana, that he will eventually understand his nature as Sanatana, as eternal. It is without any bondages, he is free. But then Bhagwan says, okay, what about those who don't do it? भगवान को ये भी तो बताना है ना, what if I don't do it? He says Nayam Lokostya Yagyasya. That means there is those who don't do this in Yagya spirit. That means who are not sharing, who are very selfish, who just want to do things for their own. Because understand this, everything that I think I am is my upadhis only. These are all conditioning. Body is a conditioning, mind is a conditioning, intellect is a conditioning. Identifying this conditioning and just doing for these, that means I am just very selfish. Yagya rahita, So what are these qualities that they have? There are three types, Bhagavan is saying. One who is lazy, that is Shankara's interpretation of that. That means who want to do nothing. That's one type of a person. Second is he only wants to do only for his selfish gains. Apne liye sirf, And the third is the one who is doing prohibited karma, that which he is not supposed to do but is doing it. So these are the three different types, they are the ones who are not understanding the yagya spirit. Nayam lokosya yagyasya. That means they will not be happy here or hereafter. That means their problem is not, it's not like if I don't do it, I can be happy. He says, no, you will be miserable if you don't do it here, now. So it is, I am not telling you that, okay, you will be happy in future. They say, some of the, uh, I don't want to bring other religions, but sometimes they say it is otherworldly. So whatever you are doing today is not going to help you now, but it is going to help you when you go to heaven. Bhagavan is saying, no, buddy, it is going to help you now, because if you don't do this in this spirit, you will be miserable now and hereafter. So it is a good thing to do for our happiness today. So it is not for future that Bhagavan is talking about. Bhagavan is talking about today. Nayam lokostya yagyasya. So those who are not doing, so Nayam matlab in both places, here and hereafter. उनको ना स्वर्ग में सुख है और जहां पे भी जाएंगे वो बाद में, और ना आज सुख है. That means I am not happy today because I don't understand. So these are the three types of people that Bhagavan talks about. Um, so no joy for now or no joy for later. So if you want to be happy, start following this. Um, so now Bhagavan says, so for if I don't want to, therefore Bhagavan says, if that is the case, evam bahuvidha yajnaha vidita brahmano mukhe कर्म जान विद्धि स्थान सर्वान एवं यज्ञ विमोक्ष से. ये सबसे बढ़िया श्लोक, इट्स रियली वन ऑफ द वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग श्लोका. एवं एवं मीन thus बहुविधा यज्ञः. That means I have told you so many different types of yajna, right? You pick one. If you don't, bahuvidaha yajna, that I have told you, revealed to you, explain to you different type of yajna. So where do these yajnas reside? He says in brahmana mukhehe. Brahmana mukhehe, in the nine, in the mouth of Brahmaji. Now Bhagavan is saying Brahmaji. Now mouth of Brahmaji is nothing but Vedas. What comes out of Brahmaji is Vedas. What did he say? Whatever he spoke became Veda. That we have done that in our uh, what book did we do? The Bhagavad Gita, right? Where the Vedas is also known as Brahma's revelations. So whatever has come out of Brahma is Vedas. So these are explained in the Vedas. That's what Bhagavan is trying to say. He's not saying that this is a new technology that I have developed. It is coming from Brahmaji's mouth. It is coming from so it is not something new. This has been there forever. So this is where they reside. And so point is that this is a age old teaching that Bhagavan is revealing to Krishna or Arjuna in a simplified manner. That's what Bhagavan is saying. Karma jan vidhi tan sarvan. See, all of them are born out of karma. ये बड़ी important चीज है that we have to understand. So these are many yajnas that are advised in Vedas. So Vedas are saying, okay, you can do this, you can do this, you can do that. They are all karma only, right? So understand that as karma jan vidhi. They are born out of. So once you understand uh, that these are all karmas, which means it can be confusing actually. This particular stuff can be very confusing, so we have to pay attention a little bit. Bhaga is the word that was used earlier, is Bhagavan is saying that understand it, what is good for you as Arjuna or as Rajiv or Jyoti or as Triveni, anybody for that matter. Once you have to understand karma jan vidhi, you may know it, that I have understood this, but it has no meaning till you actually do it. So, point here is understand that it is not for your intellectual understanding. It is for you to start doing it. That's what it means. Karma janviti. It is, you understand this as, आपको समझ में आ गया. जैसे if you say I open a Netflix show which is talking about healthy food, just by watching that, what is healthy food, doesn't help you till you start actually using it in your own life. you know that is why this particular verse is very important, but because Bhagwan is warning us कि मैंने इतनी चीजें बताई है तुम्हें, it is not just कि okay, अब आप जाके दूसरों को बताओ. No, it is that you use one of them, implement it in your life, start doing it as your karma, as karma jan vidhi. Understand this has to be done, not to be understood. That's the this is how you will get the result, not by knowing, not but by knowing you may have a intellectual stimulation, but you get that uh, mukti only by actually doing it yourself. This is Shankara is actually explains it even um, under explains it to even more with more clarity, that all these things are performed, whether through body, through speech, through pranas, through mind, through intellect. We say three things, kayik, vachik, and manasik. That means through action, through kayik means through body, so any bodily action, through vachik, through speech, and through manasik, through mind. So karma is actually performed by upadhis for upadhis. It is nothing to do with Atma. Understand that. But the purpose of doing with yajna spirit is you purify your mind to understand your own identity as Brahman. कैसे करोगे? How will you do that? That is the important thing we have to understand. तभी मैं कह रहा था इसको जरा ध्यान से सुनना है. This is important thing. Karma is performed by upadhis. That means you are not performing any karmas. Either it is done through kaik, vachik, and mansik, through body, through speech, and through mind. And that once you offer these karma to Bhagwan, which is of the nature of akarma, you understand? That when you offer this to Bhagwan, which is the nature of akarma, then only this akarma atma will, let me rephrase that. Atma is akarma, which is real you. Karma is done by the upadhis, which is the all our conditionings. When we are doing, but this upadhis are only able to act when they are touched by the consciousness, right? A dead person cannot do anything. Making sense? Only a live person will be able to do karma, but they do it through things that are actually not you. The speech, the mind, the body, all that is not you. But when you offer that karma to akarma, you understand yourself to be that akarma. See, now let's reconnect to the verse that we started with, that this offering of karma in akarma, who understand this, that karmas is from akarma is karma, which means understand that the karmas which are offered by the upadhis have actually belong to a karma, which is Atma. Belong to means they are powered by it. There is nothing, these hands will not move if the consciousness is not available, right? If the Chetana is not there, then none of our physiological system or speech or mind or intellect will be available. So when they are available, then you understand why they are available to you, because of the Atma alone. So you have to, once that understanding has come in, that actionlessness, that I am always that actionless Atma, because of which all actions are possible. So all karmas belong to the world only, right? There is nothing that actually you can say belong to me, because you are that akarma Atma. Once you start doing karma with this yajna spirit, this is what Bhagwan is saying, that then you become Shuddha Buddha Mukta. That's the only way to do that. But you have to actually do it, not just know about it. So this is the conclusion of the whole topic of yajna. Not just the yajna, the akarma to karma and karma to akarma. See, these are the two words Bhagwan used very confusingly. Karma in akarma and akarma in karma. Once you start seeing it, that everything that is happening is not me. All the actions belong to the world. I am that akarma atma, So with that thinking, that is when you get the purity of mind. You get total detachment from world. See, आज जो भी हम कर रहे हैं वो किसके लिए कर रहे हैं? अपने लिए कर रहे हैं, right? I am doing it for myself. When I am doing it for myself, then there is a lot of baggage that we attach to it. So we feel, okay, agar ye nahi mila, then I will not be happy. That means all my happiness is dependent on what I have. Bhagavan says, you don't need anything. You are already free. You are already Shuddha Buddha Mukta. You are already Satchidanand. You are already Jnana Swarup. The only thing that our problem is that I am attached to these upadhis. So everything I consider as myself is these upadhis. So this is what the purity is Bhagavan is talking about. Is that all making sense? If not, we can go over it again. Not the whole thing, but this part. Understand yourself to be that akarma atma. Everything that is done is, all the karmas belong to the upadhis, right? Everything that, all the actions that are done is done by hands, our, different parts of our body, through speech, through mind. All these belong to the world. It doesn't belong to me. That part, once we have understood this, the secret of karma in akarma and akarma in karma. That's the main the goal of this. But
so Rajiv ji, jo meri understanding hai, and this is like this body or the mind and senses, whatever we are using to do the karma, all
yes,
this is being powered by Atma.
By Atma. Without Atma, nothing happens.
So that's what I do. And now this worldly thing, the matter thing, is doing things for the matter.
Yes, exactly.
Thing for the world. And so nothing to be proud of, nothing to be. I mean, that is basically this karma is a thing that it is a karma because it is nothing is yours.
Because that is what will give you the vairagya. This thinking will give you vairagya. Vairagya is not giving up things. It is about having this, what do you call it, understanding that it was never mine to begin with. Why was I so upset about it?
Right.
If I am upset about something, you have to understand with why. So that is what the clarity Bhagwan is talking about. You are absolutely right that this all belongs to samsara.
Right.
See, this body today, what it is, nothing but what the food we have eaten since we were born. Right? It has taken this form. अब उस बॉडी को मैं मान लिया है is the problem.
Right.
So that is what is called seeing akarma in karma and karma in akarma. See, we started with that, right? It was very confusing to begin with. But Bhagavan said, okay, let me start with each simple steps of yajna. Look at world with yajna spirit. And he gave very day-to-day examples that, okay, how you see that. And in the conclusion, Bhagavan says, okay, once you start to look at every action that belongs to world only, all the karmas belong to world. You have nothing to do with any karma. The reason we say that I am bound by my karmas is because I start to identify with them as I. When I identified with this body, then every problem of the body is my problem, right? If I say that, okay, this body belongs to samsara only, then it is samsara's problem. I am detached from it. मेरा वैराग्य जो है वो चीजों से नहीं अपने से होना है. This wrong identification से होना है. The vairagya has to be with the body, with the mind. ये वैराग्य is what is called the chitta shuddhi. Once we develop that, then through Shravanam, Mananam, Nidhi Dhyasanam, it will all start making sense. Right now, we look at it as a academic, with the academic interest. But with that vairagya, when we start to look at even a simple book like Tattva Bodh, it will start to make sense that, yeah, this is what they are talking about. They are not talking about me, they are talking about upadhis. Let upadhis belong to the world because that's where it actually belongs. मैं उनसे अलग हूं. That is this particular topic of karma to akarma. See, that is why this chapter is called Karma Sannyas Yoga. That means that seeing sannyas in karma with that akarma mindset, when you are even doing karma as a yajna spirit, you are still unattached to it. Anybody else wants to? You did a wonderful recap, Jyotiji. You got it. Absolutely.
So, Rajiv ji, I have a confusion. You said something about a dead body, and maybe this is being morbid, but you said dead body, it doesn't do any karma because it has no chetana or awareness, right? And the reason is because there is no mind to reflect the consciousness.
Yes, correct.
So how is this mind and karma, like, are they like?
Karma are connected? Yes. So the way mind and body is connected, the mind actually also belongs to samsara only, but to a subtle samsara, right? There is a gross body and there is a subtle body. So subtle body is also not me. Subtle body also belongs to samsara. So once that touch the subtle touch is gone, then body is dead, right? That's what we say, that okay, this body is not working because it is brain dead. Brain dead means there is zero activity in it. The even the mind is also doesn't belong to me, because mind also is see, आपने पंजीकरण पढ़ा होगा, that how the subtle becomes grosser. So this the samsara that we see is nothing but a mind's projection. It is not real. The reality, there is nothing real about this world. This is what Vedanta says. But we'll get to that also. But here Bhagwan is trying to say is understand that nothing in this world is you. You are different from kaik, vachik, mansik, anything that belongs to the world of bodies, minds, and speech. They all belong to this world only. They are all upadhis. Is that making sense? So, this is actually quite deep. This is very deep Vedanta that we are discussing here. So
good, we'll get some break to study before we start the next chapter.
But you know what? Reflect upon it. Reflect upon these ideas. Go back to the whatever Bhagavad Gita book you have and try to read through it. Now that we have talked about it, it will start to make more sense.
I think the initially what was said in this chapter, that even akarma is karma, but karma is
Yes,
akarma. It is all relative to what? I think is what.
exactly. Who is seeing karma in akarma and karma in akarma? That means karmas are happening. We are not going to deny that part, but it belongs to upadhi. It doesn't belong to me. I am always a karma. I am totally unattached to anything uh, that is upadhi based. Let's put it that way. See, this is the beauty of Vedanta, that it slowly takes you to that understanding. First, he started with the one who sees karma in a karma, akarma in karma, which is very confusing. Then he says, okay, let me go slow and teach you even in your day-to-day activities through yajna spirit, that you have to offer your pranas into pranas, or the different things that we talked about. So
when we are looking at it from the realm of BMI or the upadhis, everything is karma even when you do nothing.
Yeah, even if you do nothing, it's karma. Exactly. Exactly.
Look at it from the perspective of who I really am, then all karmas are akarmas.
Yes, they all belong to, see, all karmas are happening in akarma only.
Yeah.
Because really speaking, there is nothing other than Brahman.
Right.
So whatever, see, it's like watching a movie. Again, I am going to that movie example. So watching a movie on a wide screen has zero action, but all the action is happening is just play of the colors, right? The play of colors is what gives us the experience of multiplicity.
And it's not possible on the white screen.
Right. But once we understand that it is white screen, that the colors, the reason the colors are only possible to have an impact when we have eyes to see it, right? These eyes also belong to the same realm as the colors.
True.
Which is upadhi.
Right.
So any experience of interaction with this BMI or the OET, it all belongs to the upadhi level. It doesn't belong to Atma. Nothing belongs to Atma. That is what is akarma.
In some way, it is similar to in chapter 9, he says, everything is in me, I am in everything.
Same thing, exactly same thing, exactly same thing. We'll see every chapter is detailing what Bhagwan has covered before. So, क्योंकि अर्जुन को नहीं समझ में आया तो चलो और तरीके से समझाते हैं. So, actually, if you see, chapter 2 covers everything. Chapter 3 is because he didn't get what is karma. Then Bhagwan says, okay, you still want to be sannyasi? Understand. You, with this understanding, you are in karma also, you are akarma. You don't have to kind of sit in the jungle to be a sannyasi. You can be in midst of everything and still be a sannyasi. You know, Bhagavad Gita is the most practical text of Vedanta, you know, because it is talking about a confused person like us.
And we, time and again, the question comes in our mind or other people's minds, or everybody's minds. How is moksha and all this Vedanta and non-attachment possible while we have families and jobs and all? And this is what is explaining how it is possible.
Yeah. Akarma in karma. You be part of that family. Who is stopping you? But understand it is not me. I am going to do with my yajna spirit. I am going to get involved in this world because this upadhi also belongs to the world. So let me contribute with a proper understanding that I am. So, cool. But you know, Bhagavad Gita is one thing that you go through it multiple times, it'll start to make more sense, you know. So anyway, it's a heavy text, so I gave that. It's not an easy text. It's not Bhagavad Puran where you tell stories and you're done.
Even
But
if you understand it, then imbibing it and actually practicing is even more difficult. Obviously,
ये भगवान ने कहा है यहाँ पे, right? He says that कर्म ज्ञान विद्धि, कहता है you may know it, but if you don't do it, it doesn't make sense. You know, convert that yajna spirit into our day-to-day action.
Right. That is the toughest part, actually.
Which is fine, you know. Tough things become easy with practice.
Right.
करत करत अभ्यास के जड़मती होत सुजान रसरी आवत जात के सिल पर देत निशान. Yeah. We have to continue to see, even in the earlier we talked about the knowledge is only good if it is become practical in our life. You know,
Right.
if it is just a information about something, that then it is useless information, you know. If it is not going to help me today, then what good it is.
So in one of the Swamiji's in Chinmay mission, वो बता रहे थे कि कि obviously सुनना तो important है, श्रवणम तो important है, but मनन, so जैसे आप कह रहे थे ना, ध्यान, उस चीज में ध्यान लगाया जाए every time. जैसा बच्चा पैदा होता है तो बच्चे को तो पता नहीं होता, पर हम ना तो मेरा बच्चा है, मेरा बच्चा है, मेरा बच्चा, लाख 2 लाख 1000 लाख बोल के हम ही बांधते हैं अपने मन को. तो अब उसको वैराग्य करने के लिए तो वो हमारा बच्चा नहीं है, बच्चा नहीं, कितनी बार तो बोलना पड़ेगा उसको, फिर हम लोग ही नहीं.
Or not only that, you have to say this is Bhagwan's bacha, you know,
Bhagwan's
that
bacha.
Bhagwan has given me this responsibility to serve this bacha as
जब
Bhagwan.
से वो पैदा हुआ तब से तो हम कितनी बार बोलते मेरा बच्चा है, मेरा बच्चा है.
I know.
तो जिस पे ध्यान लगाया गया उसी का मोह अटकता गया, राइट?
Exactly.
Right.
I think in
गाना
medicine,
भी था ना एक, ये मोह मोह के धागे. It's like a good song actually.
Very beautiful song.
Very Vedantic in a way.
Yeah.
in medicine, there are some concepts like if we look at the heart, if there is a person has high blood pressure, the heart has to work extra hard and become sick as a way to handle that load. So it becomes useful and to a certain extent, and then that itself becomes a problem. And the same way, I think when we have children, that thought that this is mine, we don't differentiate between us and our children. It helps us serve the children like we wouldn't otherwise be able to. But that same thing, once you go beyond a certain level, if you don't let it go, it becomes a burden.
Yes.
Problem comes in our mind when we start comparing. ये मेरा है, ये उसका है, you know. That is when the problem comes, not in serving our kid. When you start to differentiate, that's when the mind is,
No, even if you
जो
don't
जिसको कहते हैं भेद बुद्धि, you know.
even if you don't differentiate, चाहे वो सिर्फ हम अपने बच्चे के सुख का भी सोच के भी चिंता करते हैं ना, कि मतलब कंपेयर भी नहीं करो, फिर भी खुद के बच्चे का लाइक से कोई बच्चा बीमार है, तो वो बच्चे के उसको ठीक होए जब तक माँ की तो चिंता रहती है.
Absolutely. और रहनी भी चाहिए, you know. This is not something कि आप उसकी चिंता करना छोड़ दो. तो भगवान कहेगा भैया तेरे को एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दिया, वो तो कम से कम पूरी करो, you know. That is our responsibility. We
पर
cannot run
चिंता
away
नहीं
from
करनी
it.
चाहिए ना, पर चिंता नहीं करनी चाहिए, सर्व करना चाहिए, मतलब उसको दवाई देनी चाहिए, या पर चिंता नहीं करनी चाहिए. चिंता ही से तो प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट होते हैं.
केयर करना चाहिए, केयर करना चाहिए, एंड इक्वली अदर पर्सन्स चिल्ड्रन आल्सो.
करेक्ट.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Chalo, let's conclude and then we'll meet on Tuesday, continue this chapter. But I think there's not much left. There's only 41 or 42 verses in this. So we have around 10. So अगर दो नहीं तो तीन में खत्म हो जाएगा. So we'll be able to wrap it up in 3.
Right.
Hariom Sudhaji.
Hariom. Hariom. Rajiv ji, please post this link on the YouTube.
I will. I'll do that. Give me another day. Is weekend tak I will be up to speed with all my posts. Promise.
Thank you.
Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right.